So I talk a lot about the amazing energy that comes when you accomplish something, when you know, take that risk and you walk into your fear and you do this thing that you've maybe been putting off. Um, but I want to mention that that energy really only comes when we actually finish the job. So yesterday I took my World Packers, who are volunteers working here on the property. We went to a willow farm, and we pruned her willow bush. This fence. I mean, this fence of it was a bush, really, like this whole huge line of fence. We took off all this year's growth, and in exchange, we were given this willow, which had been pruned from a different fence to make a fence in our garden over there, which I'm super excited about. But at the end of the day, we were finishing up, and she said we didn't need to do the whole thing, but we were so close, and we just kept working. And so then we finished. We had pruned the whole thing, but we had not bundled up the willow that we had pruned. So it was things like this, but they were all over the ground. And, I knew that we were doing this work exchange, and I was so grateful that she was willing to let us have this willow for our garden fence and not charge us. I mean, if you buy this, it's expensive. It's a product that took a year to make. So I was really grateful, and I really wanted to leave a good impression with her. I really wanted her to feel like, wow, that was a great exchange. So we had been in the rain up to our ankles in water. I had knelt in the mud for hours, and I was tired. We were all tired, but I wanted to leave it finished. I didn't want to leave a mess for her. And so, we rallied ourselves and gathered it, and you have to size it a little bit so that all the ends are together. And there you can see how, we have this big one here and the little tiny ones here. So that's what we did. We rallied that energy. We tied the bundles. We had to bring them to the barn. But when we were done, there was a sense of satisfaction of, that we were people of increase, that we had gone the extra mile because that way she could enjoy things. She had been a little sick. Her daughter had been sick. She had to leave while we were still working to take her daughter to the doctor. And I just thought, wouldn't it be great for her to come back and to have all of that taken care of, to have all the bundles, at the barn near her house so she could just then sort them herself. That's what she knows what she's doing, and be ready for the next year with them. And it just gave me such great energy. And I think about other times in my life when I have, not really gone the extra mile, not really done the thing, all the things that I know I need to do to make it finished. Sometimes I remember when I first started doing workshops and video presentations, and I would put out some advertising, but I knew that there were steps that I could do that would bring in people, but I was kind of too afraid to do them. And so I convinced myself, oh, I've done all this work. And then if I failed, there was sort of this safety net of, it failed because I really didn't do all the things, not because there's a problem with me, right? And I think that there's lots of things in our life like that. I was noticing the kitchen, last night got cleaned up, all the dishes got done, but the counters and the stove and the sink drains, we don't have a disposal, so we have these little cups for the drains, none of that was cleaned up. And that little bit of difference makes the difference. They say that a rocket that goes into space, a satellite that's you're setting up a satellite, and 90% of the fuel gets it into space, and then that last 10% is the booster rocket, because if you don't have that booster rocket, you fall back to Earth. So doing that last 10%, wiping the counters down, bundling up the willow, whatever it is for you, making phone calls if I'm doing a workshop, thinking of people and asking them to ask other people. If you don't do that last 10%, you don't really get the rush of energy that you get when you actually finish a job. I have in the past, up until now, had the habit of kind of, doing something and really putting my everything into it. It happens, and then I have no follow through. I have no, contacting people afterwards because I'm on to the next thing. I'm doing whatever the next thing is, and I tend to look forward only. And I think sometimes it's important to kind of make sure you finish. You clean up your work site. So this week, if you're finding yourself not really getting the benefit of doing the job that is at hand, just take a peek in your mind and analyze and see if you are doing everything that needs to be done, or if you're leaving some things behind because you don't want to, whether that's from fear or whether that's from being really tired or whatever it is. Look to see, because that when you do that thing, what happens is there's this rush of energy that you will be fed to do even more work on your life. Blessings.